It was an election that broke nearly every record in the book, and it is a result that will continue to reverberate. That electoral earthquake now opens the democratic path that will shape Scotland's future. And let's be clear, that future will be Scotland's hands, and it will be the people's choice, and nobody else.
For giving way, he mentions a record-breaking election. He hasn't mentioned, in fact, it was the Scottish Conservatives' record-breaking election with more votes for the Scottish Conservatives than at any time in the history of devolution, making us the definite party of the main opposition in Scotland. He talks about Scotland's choice, but 4 days before the election on Thursday, the First Minister of Scotland was on the BBC saying that this was not an election about independence. Barely hours after the polls closed, she was calling for another referendum. I asked the right honourable gentleman, why did she mislead the Scottish people 4 days before we went to the polls?
Answer that.
I have to say, I'm disappointed in the honourable gentleman, and I say to him that it's going to be important over the course of the coming weeks and months that we can debate properly what the choices are for the future of Scotland. And I make this offer to him, that all of us that have Scotland's interests at heart should be able to debate rationally and honestly what those choices are. Let's respect the electorate in doing that. Mr. Speaker, I think everybody knows that the Scottish National Party is the party of independence. And everybody knows, Mr. Speaker, without prevarication, without doubt, that the SNP stood on a very clear manifesto commitment of giving the people of Scotland that choice to have that debate and a say in their future. It was clearly contained within our manifesto that we said to the people of Scotland that put us back into government again, allow us to lead the country through the pandemic. But the promise that we made to the people of Scotland was that if they voted for us in that election, if they delivered a majority for independence in that Parliament, that nobody, not the Prime Minister, and certainly not the member for West Aberdeenshire, will stop the people of Scotland having their democratic choice. And I say to him that he has to recognise what happened. And let's look at this in the context that Westminster looks at it at, on the basis of the first-past-the-post system. Now, we don't support it. We support proportional representation. But, Mr. Speaker, there are 73 first-past-the-post constituencies in the Scottish Parliament. The Scottish National Party won 62 of them. We won 85% of the constituencies on 48% of the vote. The highest number of constituencies ever won by any party. The highest share of the vote ever won by any party. And for the Conservatives to try and argue that black is white, that they've won the election, if you listen to the honourable gentleman, then frankly, Mr. Speaker, nothing can be further from the truth. Because the truth is, the ambition of the Conservative Party in Scotland is to be in opposition. The ambition of the Scottish National Party is to govern and to take our people to independence.